Hi, I'm Gwen Lawrence and welcome back to Power Yoga for Sports. I want to give you some tools today about dealing with an ailment called plantar fasciitis that a lot of athletes deal with. Now I'm not going to go into details about what it is because you can go to poweryogaforsports.com and look up my article that I wrote. Today I just want to give you some visual cues on the poses that I give you to help relieve some of the pain, and perhaps if you do this consistently and with good intentions, you will never have to deal with plantar fasciitis in the first place. Okay, so let's get started. First, we're going to do a series of poses called heroes. So heroes pose is typically like this, but we're going to give you a little bit of option here because this could be pretty difficult for some of our big, bulkier athletes. And what you want to do first is come onto your hands and knees. Make sure your knees are hips width apart, and you're going to start with your toes tucked. Okay? So I want to make sure you're going to turn around and make sure your heels are straight up to the sky. In other words, they're not knocking out, they're not rolling in, so that you're trying to tuck under all 5 toes. Okay? This seems like it's easy, but it's not for a lot of people. So you're going to tuck the toes under, and you're going to sit back on the heels. Easy enough. Not for a lot of people. See, sometimes, normally you'll see people, they either love this pose or they can't understand how it's even a possibility. So you're just going to sit here for 1, 2, maybe 3 minutes. Initially, you might not be able to sit back all the way onto your heels, so you can have a block here, or you can lean forward on your hands until you're able to walk back and sit here with no problem or relatively little bit of stretch. Okay? So again, 1 to 3 minute hold. Breathe, try to relax into it. Let the bottoms of your feet open, which is key. We're stretching the Achilles heel and the bottoms of the toes. We've also talked about this in the past for increasing speed with athletes. And the biggest mistake made when you do this pose is people will knock their heels in or knock them out, putting undue stress on the knee. So you want to make sure those heels are straight up all the time. So they don't want to look like that. They don't want to look like that. They want to be straight up, and you can bring your hands around so you can always check and make sure you're on track. Okay? Next, same positioning, knees hips width apart. This time you're going to untuck the toes and sit back. Again, looks easy enough, but for a lot of people, they don't have this deep knee flexion, and they can't sit back all the way. So a good idea is to roll up a towel, stick it behind the knees, and then go ahead and sit back until someday the towel gets smaller, 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 smaller until you're sitting on the heels. So what are we doing here? Here we're opening up the shins and the top of the foot. So you're increasing the range of motion in your whole lower leg. That way you're not putting too much strain or stress on the bottom of that foot. Okay, so again, you're going to sit here 1, 2, 3 minutes. Level 1 is sitting, like I said, with something behind your knees. Level 2, you're able to sit on the heels. Level 3, you could put a block or a towel between your feet and go ahead and sit back on that. And level 4 is all the way down to the floor. The key to this pose and mistake that's often made is people will turn their foot out like that, and that is just suicide for the knee. So please don't do that. I always want you to make sure that the bottom of your foot is facing up. Okay? You could also play around with the distance with the knees a little bit. If you're feeling pain, especially knifing pain, back out. If you're feeling a stretchy pain, kind of hang in there a little bit, see if you can release it, and in time you'll be able to bring the knees closer and closer and closer until they're right next to each other. Okay? So now, next pose for plantar fasciitis, either prevention or trying to heal it, is downward facing dog, one of our most common poses in yoga. What you're going to do is come onto your hands and knees. Hands are shoulder width apart, palms flat, fingers spread. My students are sick of hearing me say that, but so often down dog is set up so improperly that you end up hurting the shoulder and the back and you can't open up properly. So take some time. Shoulder width apart, palms flat, fingers spread, equal space between each finger. Toes are tucked, feet are hips width apart, parallel. So don't let the heels drop in, don't let them drop out. It's very uncommon to see somebody with the heels flat down. So don't think you have to force the heel down. All right, that will come in time, maybe. What is important is that you can breathe and that you feel a stretch. And what you're going to do is press yourself up. Okay? You could sort of rock around here, opening the hips a little bit. You could push the floor away, flattening out the back. And what I want you to do is take a look at your feet and sink one heel at a time. So you're tracking the heel right over the toes. We're not rolling in, we're not rolling out, and alternating calf stretch. So we can continue to open up the Achilles tendon, the whole back of the leg, from the hamstring all the way down, the toes. Really important to get good opening in that whole leg. And while you're at it, you're opening up the shoulders. So you're going to kill two birds with one stone. Okay, and then finally, I mean, there's a ton you can do, but I've sort of narrowed it down to some that are specific to the ailment that you could just pick up, memorize, take with you, and do whenever you can. Next one is lunge. So you're going to come to your down dog. Right leg's going to come forward. You're going to stay on the back toes. Biggest mistake here, you roll to the big toe, roll to the pinky toe. I don't want that. I want your heel straight up to the sky, and then you're going to come up into your lunge pose. Okay? So lunge is not here. Lunge is not here. You have your knee in 90 degrees. Your right thigh's parallel to the floor. Your weight is all the way back into that heel. Arms are up to the sky. So you're feeling this length. And I want you to push off that back foot 20, 25 times if you can. Okay, so now we're opening the whole hip flexor quad. And again, strengthening and stretching the bottom and top of the foot and lower leg at the same time. So it's forward, back, forward, back. Biggest mistake I see here, up, down, up, down. That's not what I want. I want you to work the push off. Okay? And that's it. So memorize them. Check out the article on poweryogaforsports.com, and good luck.